You know, they live in our homes, they walk on our keyboards, they even knock things off our shelves, probably just for fun. But how well do we really know our cats? Well, today, we're going to decode some of their most surprising secrets. You probably think you have your cat all figured out, right? You know, their favorite spot to nap, their favorite flavor of food, but I'm willing to bet they have a few secret signals and, biological quirks that are going to genuinely surprise you. So let me ask you, how well do you really know your cat? We are about to pull back the curtain on some of the most fascinating and totally misunderstood parts of what makes a cat, well, a cat. Stick with me because I promise by the end of this, you are going to see your furry little companion in a completely new light. Okay, so let's start with communication. Cats have this really subtle and sophisticated language that goes way, way beyond a simple meow. And you know what? One of their most important signals is something you've probably seen a dozen times and never really knew what it meant. Yep, the slow blink. When your cat looks right at you and gently, slowly closes and opens its eyes, that's a sign of huge trust and affection. People call it a cat kiss. So next time that happens, don't miss your chance. Slow blink right back at them and tell them you love them too. And how they say hello is so different from us. We might shake hands or shout, "Hey," across a room. Cats, they have a much more personal way of introducing themselves. It's a gentle nose-to-nose touch. It's how they trade scents and basically confirm, okay, yeah, you're a friend. And here's the cool part. We can actually use this. Instead of reaching right in to pet a cat you've just met, try this instead. Slowly offer the tip of your finger. You're basically speaking their language, letting them do their natural greeting ritual on their own terms. It's a total game changer from making a good first impression. Now that sense of smell is absolutely crucial because a cat's whole view of the world is just wildly different from ours. And it all starts with those famous eyes. So get this, here's a fact that might blow your mind. Cats are actually far-sighted. Their eyes are incredible tools for hunting, right? They're built to see the tiniest twitch of a mouse from way across the room. But because of that, they can't clearly focus on anything that's closer than about a foot away from their face. It's all just a blur up close. And that is exactly why that nose-touching thing is so important. When a cat comes right up to sniff your finger, it's not just saying hello, it's getting a clear picture of you with its super powerful sense of smell, because its eyes simply can't handle the close-up. It all makes sense now, right? All right, we've all seen it. A cat just pouring itself like liquid into a tiny box or squeezing through a gap that seems impossibly small. How on earth do they do that? Well, the secret is all about a very specific piece of anatomy that they're missing. So let's talk about us for a second. In humans, we have a collarbone, right? It connects our shoulder blade to our breastbone, and it creates this rigid, wide structure for our shoulders. Just kind of picture that in your head. And there it is. That's the secret. Cats don't have a solid, rigid collarbone like we do. What they have is this tiny, free-floating little bone that isn't even connected to anything else. That means their shoulders aren't locked in place at all. And the result of that? It's their almost supernatural flexibility. The rule of thumb is if a cat's head can fit through an opening, the rest of its body can follow. Their skull is the only thing holding them back. It is literally their anatomical superpower. Okay, let's debunk one of the biggest myths about cats, allergies. If you start sneezing the second a cat walks into the room, you probably blame their fur. But the real culprit is something much, much smaller. And honestly, a little bit grosser. So let's just ask the question, what is it that's causing that itchy, sneezy, watery-eyed reaction? Is it really all that fluff? Well, for millions of people who suffer from allergies, the answer is a big, fat no. That's the truth. The main thing that triggers allergies is a protein that's found in a cat's saliva. The fur, that's just the delivery system for the real problem. So here's how it all goes down. Cats are obsessed with grooming, right? They're constantly licking themselves. As they do that, they're covering their fur in the saliva that's packed with the allergen. Then, when the saliva dries, those tiny little protein particles flake off, they go airborne, and that's what you breathe in. So the fur gets all the blame, but it's really the saliva doing all the dirty work. So, from slow blinks that say, "I love you," to their far-sighted vision and their boneless flexibility, we've seen that there's this deep, fascinating logic behind everything a cat does. Now that you can decode them a little better, go watch your cat. What new secrets are they just waiting to tell you?